her relationship with Tartu City of Literature back in 2022, wasn't it? When she spent a couple of months, no, it was 1 month, 1 month here in residency, and has since then become almost a local. So it's, I think, Penny's third performance here at the Literature House. But I don't feel anything repeating itself because Penny always comes with a really new thing and a really wonderful project, which is what we are also going to experience today. And Penny has helped me a lot with explaining what we do here as a city of literature, because now I recently discovered a completely new thing to say. Well, in Tartu, we tend to steal good writers from other cities of literature in a good way. So thank you, Penny, for becoming a Norwich Tartuvian poet and visiting us so often, and for offering us the opportunity to listen to this wonderful spoken word and music project today, because this time Penny came with her sister, Jane Boxalli, so that we can listen to their joint project called Replaying the Tape. Before I give the stage to Penny and Jane, I just have one request. As my printer finished cooperating with me, those of you who do have the notes already, please share them with those who don't. And I think the printer during the concert might awaken again. So maybe after the concert, we will have some additional copies of the notes. And as for copies, one more announcement, namely, last year, a selection of Penny's poems was published in the magazine Academia, translated by Kersti Unt. And Thomas just informed me that he has the last copy of that issue with him. So after the concert, it will be auctioned. So thank you, Penny and Jane.
Hello. So just before we start the performance of Replaying the Tape, I'm going to give you a little bit of context about how it came to be. So my sister Jane is a percussionist, composer, generally very adaptable person, which is wonderful. And we wanted to collaborate. And we wanted to collaborate with my friend Frankie Dunni, who's a paleontologist at the University of Oxford. She is a fantastically engaged person and very interested in the earliest animals that lived on Earth. She particularly focuses on body plans of animals, and they often look very bizarre to our modern eyes. They don't tend to have limbs or actually resemble animals sometimes in any way that we would recognize. For example, one of the animals that she works on, Charnia, those of you who can see programs, you can see that I've drawn little childish drawings of some of these creatures, which might not elucidate the matter too much, but might give you a tiny idea of what these things look like. Charnia, you might think is a leaf. It's just a little sort of feather-like frond. But it is in fact an animal, a very, very early Precambrian animal. And we know this because it lived on the bottom of the sea where there was no light. It was not photosynthesizing. There are some other very bizarre animals like trilobites, which had compound stone eyes, calcite eyes, which looked the way that Frankie described their vision to me is as if light is glancing off the front of your watch. That's the way they understood sight. And we've also got things like the graptolites, which look like almost nothing at all. They just look like little pencil marks on the slate. So those are some of the types of animals we're going to see. And also we're going to look at Aurora lumina, which is the Earth's earliest known predator. Frankie identified this animal in 2022, and it's 20 million years older than the previous known oldest predator. She named it after David Attenborough, who was delighted with this. So these are some of the little creatures. More broadly, the program is about chance. So we've got different types of chance. Firstly, the chance of evolution and some of these body plans that evolved seemingly kind of arbitrarily, but actually to fill a very, very specific niche in the ecosystem. but also the chance related to the discovery of these creatures. So you're going to hear a little bit about the discovery of the Burgess Shale, which is one of the most important fossil sites for Cambrian fossils. And also about the discovery of Charnia itself. So one of the pieces references two discoveries of Charnia, one by the 15-year-old Tina Nagus, and which was disbelieved because her geology teacher didn't think that the rocks in which she found Charnia could support such ancient life. And the following year by the also school child, Roger Mason, who was 16, and after whom the species is named. So you're going to see all sorts of different ways chance influences these animals. So when we start, it will run through, it will be one continuous piece. Sometimes I will announce the title, sometimes I won't, but hopefully with the aid of a program, you should be able to work out where we are. So let's replay the tape.
As usual, I was thinking about the moments of the past, letting my memory rush over them like water, rushing over the stones on the bottom of a stream. Billy Collins, nostalgia.
The chance of a fine cold morning turned her from the library and out on her bike, over glinting meadows. As usual, she was thinking about the past. A robin, improbable as herself, familiar as her own name, skittered from illegible thicket. Ring road traffic lectured on consequences, pre-recording for a future audience. Above was sky she perceived as blue, a sun she sensed as warm. Originating from wherever was a sense of good luck settling. How the stories began. Imagine it. Night falling, snow beginning too, the horses weary, slipping on the loose descent. A shard of rock kicked down by chance, the moment it all hinges, but no. Imagine it. Daylight filtering through a moving veil of snowflakes, the horse on the ascent. A scrape, a clumsy hoof that sparks the discovery of discoveries. No, no. Imagine dusk or twilight, maybe dawn, 6 till 6, crammed full of method, no stone unturned. Rumors of the past like negatives of negatives. And on the pass, a sift of snow. No, no, no. A knowing scientist, his assistant, a canny wife, his daughter blast the snow, all sifting through the jumble sale of time, looking for the right answer in the wrong place, then looking for the question, here. No, no. There was no snow, though snow might rhyme with the soft impression on the rock, the little print which, like us all but more so, is its own, but this time in a fundamental way. Too many gills, a too long face, too many lugs all photographed in stone. No, 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 it's complicated. Both none of this and all of it. So look up. Imagine, can you see above the quarry, falling now, settling in the tracks, true and false at once, the soft, quick ghosts of snow?
Belongings. There's many a lost life to find out here, stamped in the rock. In right light, there's a little litter of dead things, slantwise, there even if you don't think on them. Things you mistake maybe for feather or frond are in fact the start of what might turn out a kind of thumbprint, unthinkably later down the line. Bubbles and pits in the rock all mean life, or point towards it in a sort of way. Then the tide washes in and wettens it all, just as ever it did, and turns everything to sky.
Mistaken point. Version A. Hereabouts, time was, sailors would tack homewards in the midst of fog's blindness, cloudness, quietness so thick they were feeling, smelling their way. But senses other than sense make bad captains. So little wonder that they took this slab of land so readily for something surer than it was, mistaking it in hope for home, and so thinking smashed themselves aground on trickster rocks. The waves cussed out such foolishness, forced the men to shore to cold, hard facts. Today the sea's still swearing, Anglophone. Old lives are footnotes, dead ships, bones. Version B. Inexpert, I read fossil into monograms, carved hearts, scratched in dates, irrelevant human things. Yet I persist. Once I draw attention to a clearly mid-Victorian bee, not caring who it stood for, sweetheart, baby, wife. Still wildly hoping for a sign of something wider, deeper, underpinning life. Version C. On the rock's blank canvas, for a brief moment things align. A magic eye trick's pulled off. A little body manifests in slight relief, dropping the lightest hints about itself. But just at the wrong second, a cloud breezes round the corner and the light shifts and the notion's lost forever. Between the lines. Version A. In 1957, Roger Mason considers as he returns home to tell the adults of his discovery. The oldest belong to groups. Their age is yet to be precisely pinpointed, and they might be young. He is known to the oldest communities, seen. The vast majority are soft, fond, and live stationary lives. They live either reclining or elevated. The fond assemble with only a few for company. No fond have yet been convinced, but traces and impressions may hint at presences. Version B. In 1956, Tina Batty considers as she returns home to tell the adults of her discovery. The oldest belong to groups. Their age is pointed. She said, big enough to be seen. They are soft and stationary. They live in darkness, reclining. The old dissemble, not convinced, but she sees.
It is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change.
The Girl's Book of Monsters is a work in progress. Once every few months she's moved to add a page. The more unwieldy, the odder the monster, the better. This time she begins with a lozenge of a body, adds a berry cluster of exactly 5 eyes, a card shuffle of legs, arrayed in such a way as might mean something in the language of the fan, a lobster spread of tail, and almost as afterthoughts, at the tip of the head, a nozzle, at the tip of the nozzle, why not, a beaky claw for grabbing. The girl surveys her work, having purely by chance depicted Opabinia, who could just about float off on its fluttering, impossible lobes, swinging its toothy proto-trunk, its glittering eyes, absorbing sights we haven't yet considered.
Book of Monsters. The zombie fish is cute but evil. It went out of control when a clumsy scientist spilt a magic potion on it. It grabs unsuspecting people with a sticky bubblegum tongue, like a frog. This is a kind monster found anywhere. He likes making people happy and makes the world a better place by tickling sad or angry people. The sister is larger and more scary. She's a cheeky brute. She disguises herself as an island to trap people. It does not have eyes, but knows where everything is. They do not have ears, but can hear. It smells through its ears. This four-headed creeper spits fire and can turn invisible. Each head can breathe a different thing. It can turn into any shape it wants to. If it loses its hair, it just grows back, like its teeth. It is also poisonous. Beware, very dangerous. It lives under children's beds and in any shadow. The shadow lives on dead skin, but will drink blood if it is dripping. This is when you have nightmares. It does not have a mouth, but can get things into its body. He eats plants, but can eat people if hungry enough. If it sees dropped sweets, it grabs them to make itself bigger. She sees things in a different way, so everything looks like carrots. The only place you're safe is the sky.
Moonlight. And the moon. Oh, the moon back then. So much brighter, closer too, so that on paper sharp nights it was tossed, a shining rock above skittering seas, near enough to feel. And in those days there was no pole star, nothing to tether us. Orion was bound by no belt. You could only guess at the shape he'd be. It was all in front of us then. Time, that is. We had it all to come. Days blurred by, perfectly unnumbered. Days melted into the haze of living. So the degree-thin creatures in the bottom of the sea, bewildered by this business of being alive, looked around one day to find themselves suddenly dead. Impressed, grey, swaddled on the seafloor and dead. Their progeny, dead like them, their progeny's progeny, dead, and wondered how they'd passed the time, what they had to show for those long-lost ages, where all that beautiful summer had slipped away. The ghosts of Charnwood Forest. Up on the moor, there's a lifetime of death. Where the grey dreams of animals never took breath. From deserts to mountains, on edges of sea. The fossils are stitched in an unravelled seam. There in the rocks is the record of life. Thin as a ghost and as cold as a knife. With brushes and torches, we search on the hill. And deep time is sifted like flour from the mill. When the wind whistles cold on the moor of the night. The death masks of creatures appear ghastly white. And all the long night we heard skirling and knocks. But it's only our minds playing tricks on the rocks. Calcite eyes. Methought his eyes were two full moons. William Shakespeare, King Lear. Close your eyes. Open them again. Imagine in their place stone kaleidoscopes, a packing case of lenses, inverting an infant world. Picture your eyes full moony, taking in mineral and chasm. What you see now isn't seascape, not sand, not coves, not seaweed, but a feel of things, a feel for things, a littered seafloor, glancings of the dreamed of sun. What you see through stone eyes is magnified, sparks and gobbles light, is bobbled tufa, is time-resistant quartz, is unguessable movement, is clean slate. A pebble caught in the surf's suck and spit, the round familiarity of it helps you understand. Cinderella Ucala. "500 million years, a lady in waiting, you laid our best plans like a fire. Though you're something like a pine cone, fragrant and incinerable, you advanced the notion of limbs. You had a foot in the door before either door or foot. You're a basic plot in anticipation of the tale before rags to riches dulled like a copper kettle. You've slipped from recollection, but not the record. Your effects littering the China landscape like improbable slippers. Graptolites. Artists' impressions of life, quick sketches on slate. Almost roommates, kept apart by the walls of themselves. Each season they claim a little bit more sea, another quarter inch in which to hoist their living self-flag. Tiny unfilled cups wavering in the current, mouthing, "More, sir, please, sir, more." Pages torn from a history book, the writing on the wall. What becomes of us, Heights penciled on the doorframe, a stanza of half-recalled lines, traces of perfume, a lock of braided hair. Love song from the lumper to the splitter. Where I might start and you might end is a moot point. Your hand could very easily, by a quick feint, be in my hand, and we could both be neatly joined. I think that what I'm saying is, while you're a splitter, I, by nature, wish to lump us all together, which is to say, be mine, because more is always better. The molecular clock. We're slipping further every minute, not just from the moment that you stood up in our habitual cafe, abandoning your half-drunk coffee, and molecules of its aroma dispersed awkwardly in the air. Deeper than that, more like the way we swap our cells each 7 years, but more so. This is hard to understand. I'm often wrong, I know. What I mean to say, think of what's between us yawning unabridged, widening to the point that they might in future be able to pin down exactly where and how and why it was we split. How sad that is, how sad, and can't be fixed. Except, perhaps, this way. Come back and stick. Turn back the clock. The tick, tock, tick. Windows of preservation. Unlike defenestration, in which dissenters are heftily exited through the nearest open window, this is an opportunity, a gap in time through which we slip, saving ourselves, saving our children, saving our children's 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 children's, 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 children.
For the record, an imp in the art, late into the art, a lapse in the art, all to dare, glimpse in ear, a lantern glimpses into the dark, a lantern glints shining through the dark trees.
Encyclopedia, from encyclios, meaning circular, recurrent, required regularly, general, and paideia, meaning education, rearing of a child.
Dickinsonia. The cat sat on the splat. Stromatolite. The mat upon which sat the cat. Tribrachidium. The cat mated with the mat. Coronacolina acula. Let the cat out of the sack. Sprigina. The tail before the cat. Streptechnus. A cat forgot his hat. Albemarez. Attack, beware hazmat. Charnia. A crate of flattened slats. Margariti flabellum. How's that? Aurora lumina magnificat. Raking light. A paintings conservator, lighthousing her special torch across the frozen sea surface of a masterpiece, picking out retouchings, old weaknesses. A paleontologist coaxing into line the low March sun and the suspended seabed, interpreting subtle impressions of holdfasts, ancient life litter. A punter craning below the ambassador's frame, marrying what seems like stiff draped cloth until, from nowhere, materializes bone, the eternal memo. Casts. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Emily Dickinson. Weird space. lunar rock where fingers moonwalk under low-slung light. Death masks of poets, revealing how they were in life, quills in pots of ink. Mots and Baileys long since sieged, the moats dried up, the swans and fishes dead. Triumphant darts, bullseye. Arrows pointing to what killed them or where they were headed. Filaments like the glowing hearts of light bulbs, connecting us. The Great Migration. Not overland, not what you might think, not a flock or a swarm, not that, not a herd or a shoal, or not exactly, not east nor west, not north, not south, not us. Not geese to the sun, not moths to flame, deeper, more mysterious than this. More of a yearning yo-yo recalled by the moon, but not from shore to sea, not tide. This happens every night, a rising from the deep, a following, a luring up. First the little ones luminescing chase the moon, and so they tug behind them creatures in ascending size, all longing for the out of reach. The sharks, the whales are not above it, reaching for the jellies and the fish. We trail the tiniest winking light, the merest flash, the ghost of a hint.
Nendel on võimalus veel akadeemiast lugeda Penny Boxalli värsse JayGouldi suurepärasest tõlkes. See on viimane eksemplar eelmise aasta akadeemiast number 5 ja selle ma annan ära 4 eurot. Kes tahab? See on optsioon. Kui ei taha, keegi ma võin toimetada tagasi ja müün suvalise liidida. 4 eurot esimest korda. Kui ei tahab seda võrratult võrratud osta 4 on praegu pakkuda. Võite üle pakkuda. 4 on esimest korda. Siim Lill ostab selle ära praegu. 14 korda. 10 eurot. 10 eurot esimest korda. See on tõesti viimane šanss. Ja siin on võimalus 10 eurot teist korda. Ja siin on võimalus saada veel muide täna ka autogramm autorid ja tõlkjad. Nii et kas tahab keegi veel seda viimast, täiesti viimane eksemplar. Kui keegi ei taha, siis läheb 10 euroga sinna, muidu ma müün selle suvalise, mis akadeemiat sisse asjad. Aga kui keegi ei taha, viimane võimalus, siis 10 eurot 3 korda müüdud, palun.